Um, thank you for joining us this evening. We're on the East Coast, and I am delighted to have this opportunity to present these Snazaroo face painting themes that are going to be painted from one of our artists that usually you see doing watercolor. So she's bridged the gap, and it's just going to demonstrate how easy these face painting guides are going to be for you. So hopefully you'll enjoy them. They're going to be downloaded. This class is being recorded. And as we're going through the class, if you have questions, I will respond to the chat. But welcome everyone. And I'm going to hand it over to Mandy Peltier and our children that are going to be participating this evening. So let's have some fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. And like she said, I'm Mandy Peltier. I'm really excited to be here tonight. I'm usually at my drafting table showing you all how to create watercolor paintings using Winsor & Newton Cotman watercolors. But Snazaroo is owned by the same parent company as Winsor & Newton, so I'm really excited to get to represent Snazaroo tonight. And my kids have really enjoyed having their face painted a bunch recently. So I'm going to show you a lot of tips and techniques and things that work for me when I'm painting my kids' faces. And I'm going to demo 4 face designs for you tonight, but I'm also going to just show you a 5th one that's already finished, and we'll start with that one. So Lindsay, if you could go ahead and share my other camera, that would be great. All right, so this is Milo. Milo, can you say hi?
Hi.
All right, so he has the Werewolf Face, which was just recently uploaded onto the Snazaroo website. It's just a 3-step tutorial, just like all of Snazaroo's face painting designs. It uses just 3 colors: brown, white, and black. And so I basically just started by using a sponge, and I'm going to show you how to use a sponge in just a second, but I just sponged on the brown all around his face, and I sponged white above his upper lip. And then I used a small round brush and sort of a flicking technique to apply white and black stripes all around his face, and also the 2 sort of fangs here. And then I finished up with outlining the fangs with black, placing some dots, the nose, and the eyebrows. So it's a real simple design, just 3 steps and you're done, just like all of the tutorials. And Milo, what do you think?
I think it's awesome.
All right, can you do it for the camera? All right, good job, bud. Okay, and now it is Milo's bedtime. So we're gonna carefully get him up, and then we'll start with the first tutorial.
Thank you, Milo. Appreciate it. Happy Halloween.
Yeah, that's right.
And Mandy has her face painted as well. She created the scarecrow because we all participate. It's really easy to use, and like I said, I've even done it on myself today. But I was I'm not in my mask today, as you can see. But Mandy, as our models, our children lined up, and we're going to start first with the rainbow tiger.
Yes, we are. And I forgot to mention the werewolf design. That is a hard one to say. Uses the Halloween paint kit. So I just wanted to point that out. I'm going to be using this paint again when I model a zombie face paint. But I wanted to point that out. But for Reed here, we are going to do the rainbow tiger. And I have the finished image that's on the Snazaroo website here. If you want to see what I'm doing to his face, how it comes to life to be the finished design here. And this particular face design uses the rainbow face paint kit. And so I want to just open this up for you guys and show you what it looks like. So it comes with all the colors of the rainbow, plus black and white, and a sponge and 1 brush. It's a square brush. But another thing that comes in all of these Snazaroo paint kits, which I think is really nice, is they all come with a step-by-step painting guide. And the cool thing is some of these designs are on the Snazaroo website, but others are unique to the guide. Like for instance, this really cute fox down here, that's not on the Snazaroo website. You only get it when you buy one of the kits. So I just wanted to kind of point that out. And so for the rainbow tiger, basically how I'm going to start is I'm going to use a sponge to just do layers of color all around his face. And then I'll apply the tiger stripes. So the first thing I want to do is I want to take the high density sponge that comes in the set, and I want to cut it in half. While you can use it whole like this, I find it's a lot more manageable if you cut it in half. So I just have a pair of scissors here, and I'm just going to carefully just cut it in half And now I have two pieces I can use as I apply the layers or the rainbow colors around his face. So there's different ways that you can sort of activate the watercolor. A lot of people will just say to just spritz a couple spritzes of water on the sponge, or to just place a couple spritzes of water on the paint itself. I like to do it a little bit different. What really works for me is I take a glass of water here and I actually put the whole sponge in the water for a second, just for a second, not long. And then I squeeze it out. And then I even use a paper towel to sort of blot the sponge. I just sort of squeeze the paper towel. And this for me gets it so evenly moist. And I can still take the set and spritz a couple things of water on the color I'll be using. Like for instance, I'm going to start with this blue. So I can still spritz a little bit of water on it. I just have a little spray bottle. And then I'll take the sponge and I will just really run it into that paint. And you can see how it lifts onto the sponge. And whenever I need to add more paint to my sponge, I can do that. If it starts to, if it doesn't pick up the paint very well, I can just spritz more water on it and I'm good to go. So I'm going to start doing this to Reed's face here. And I'm just going to work around the outer perimeter of his face. And I'm just dabbing it on. I'm not using a swiping motion. I'm just dabbing, dab, dab, dab. And that helps apply the blue a bit more evenly. And I'm just going to work all the way around. This first one's easy because you're just working around the very edges of the face. I'm going to show you in a little bit. When you have a face design that needs to be really symmetrical, I like to identify areas on the subject's face that I can sort of use as a guide to help with placement. But the nice thing about the rainbow tiger is there's not a whole lot about it that has to be symmetrical, or where it's hard to get it symmetrical, maybe is a better way to put it. With the butterfly I'm going to show next, there's some tricky spots where you have to get it symmetrical on both sides. So I'll show you some tricks that you can do that. But this is just sort of the first layer here with the blue. And I just used 1/2 of this high density sponge. So I'll just use the other half for the next color, which is green. You can see green around here. So I'll do the same thing. I'll spritz a couple things of water onto the green, and I'll just use the other half and put some green on there. And now I'm just going to place another layer, but I'm actually going to start down here. So we have a natural sort of break right here on Reed's face. And I'm going to start there. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And this just sort of gives it more of a tiger frame or look. And then I'll continue the same thing where I'm just going to dab another layer of green all around his face. And I can slightly overlap it with the blue. That's okay. Blue and green are right next to each other on the color wheel. So you don't have to worry about them muddying together. You'll just get sort of a blue-green transitional color if they blend together. But since I'm not going over them consistently, they'll just softly merge into each other versus blending and turning into a whole new color. All right, so there's our green. Reed, you're looking awesome. How does it feel?
Feels good.
Feels good. My son Titus, who you'll meet in a little bit, he thinks the paint feels awesome. He said that once, "Oh, Mom, this feels awesome." And he said it in a way that it's so fake that he was.
Well, it is. I have to say, I have to interject that it is very, it's a very good quality of paint. We don't test, obviously. You know, there's a lot of testing that goes on when we send it out to the stores as well. So it's great for sensitive skin, obviously, easy application and absolutely easy removal. And Reed, why don't you turn a little bit to the camera so we could see, Mandy, if you could just show us a little bit. Okay,
there you go.
Perfect. Yeah.
All right.
Time to time, we could take a look at that. So next up is what color?
Next up is yellow. So we're kind of working our way around the color wheel. So I already spritzed a couple sprays of water on the yellow. I've already taken the other half of the high density sponge that came with this kit. I put it in the water. I blotted it with my paper towel, and I'm going to run it into the yellow. And I'm going to add yellow to Reed's chin here. Both sides. And again, if you need a little bit more yellow, you can see how nice and opaque this paint goes on, though. It's really vibrant and pretty. I love that it's hyperallergenic. Once it dries, you can't even tell that you have it on. It's really lovely.
It's actually a really good thing. That's what I was just going to say, that I've used the paint, and we've had in our offices as well that people have used it. And you're right, it's very creamy. The consistency, it doesn't crack. And you said it's very sensitive for, it's great for sensitive skin.
Yes, it is. And
Yeah,
I
and
will
what-
admit, my kids have slept with it on and no issues whatsoever with that. And I'm adding yellow also just under his eyes to what's left of his cheeks.
Yeah, it's really convenient to have these kits, but they're also available in individual palettes if you wanted a particular color. But these
Yes, they
sets, you could paint many faces out of them. So they're great for parties. You could do several people. And as you said, Mandy's cutting the sponge. So it's all, you know, you clean them out. Everyone will have their individual sponge. So it's hygienic too.
All right, and now I'm using red. Put some red on the other half of that sponge. I'm going to apply this to his nose. And you can see I'm kind of just turning the sponge to get the right angle and the right placement on his nose. There you go. And as Jeannie was saying, these paints last for a long time. So I had the Ultimate Party Pack set last Halloween time. And I still haven't gone through all the paint in that set. The box, I believe, says 40 faces, but I honestly feel like that's an underestimate. You could get even more than 40 faces because I paint my kids' faces all the time and I still haven't even finished the one set.
That's just basically some guidelines that we put out because just it depends on how intricate the face painting that you're using, you know, how much coverage and all that. But as you mentioned, it doesn't dry, it doesn't make you itchy, which is a big thing with kids because they want to scratch. It just stays very smooth.
All right, so now I'm going to put white just above his upper lip. All right, just like that. There we go. Look at him. He looks so cool so far. And now we're ready to do the tiger stripes. So let me demo the tiger stripes on my arm. So I do want to say one thing. So the kits come with a square brush, but I actually prefer to use Snazaroo's round brushes for most of my face paintings. So I really recommend you get this set. I bought this at my local Michael's. So your local Michael's should have these sets. And it comes with 2 round brushes, one smaller, one larger, and then it comes with another square brush. So I'm going to create the rainbow or the tiger stripes using the number 2 round, which is the thicker round brush that comes in that 3 brush set. So I'm going to place the brush in my water, swish it around, get those bristles wet. And then I'm going to stir it into the black and create sort of a pasty mixture. And you can always put more water on your brush. I want it to be somewhat watery, not like a wash, but somewhat watery so I have a lot to work with. And then how you make the tiger stripe, I'll hold up my arm here, is you're going to start using light pressure and make just a thin line. And then you'll sort of press down with your brush and even twist it. And then you'll lift and it creates a thin line as you lift it. And you can do this also turning the brush. So you can kind of make a twisted kind of tiger line by turning it as you go, but that's how you make the tiger stripes. And so I'm going to do this on his face everywhere that it shows me in the final image here. And so I'm going to put some more black in my brush here. And I'll start with the ones on the chin because these are probably the 2 that need to be the most symmetrical. So we have kind of 2 bases of a chin. I have it 2 here and here. And so I'm going to start at the base of each one. And I'm just going to press down, twist, and then lift to get a thinner line. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other one. So we have 2 there. And then I'll do 2 up here going alongside each side of his eyebrow. So start off thin and then twist and pull up. Do the same thing on the other side. Don't worry if it's not perfectly symmetrical. Go ahead and look at the camera so they can see those awesome tigers.
It looks fantastic, Reed.
And then I'm just going to fit in as many as I can in the middle. So I'll just do the same thing. I'll twist. I might turn a couple times, twist and turn. I'm not doing a dance here, but it kind of sounds like it the way I'm talking.
I like that you created your own technique, your application technique, which is, I hear the watercolor artist in you right now speaking.
It's really not too different. The only difference is this is like a 3D, really a 4D surface. It's not flat like I'm used to working on. So I can't just take Reed's face and plop it on the desk and turn it and keep it still. You know, that's the hardest part about face painting is you're kind of like, you know, free form, but you just be loose with it. Just have fun. Don't worry about mistakes. All right. So I'm going to apply these 2 stripes that you see here and smile for me, Reed. Just give me a nice big smile. And you'll see he has sort of smile lines here. And that's what I want to follow when I place these 2 tire stripe lines. So, and that will kind of help you get them symmetrical if you kind of follow his smile lines. So look at that. So that's pretty good. And then I'm going to apply a few along his eyes, just 3 here. And they can all be different. They don't all have to look the same. And I'll do 3 over here. Oh, those look awesome. Okay, and then I'm going to switch to the smaller round brush that comes in that 3-pack of brushes. Because, yes.
Julie's asking a question of how often are you wetting the brushes in between the applications of the same color?
Just however often I need. When I can tell that I don't have enough paint to apply, for instance, when it gets dry as I apply it and versus like wet or creamy, then I know I need to add more water. Okay. So it's really just as often as you need. I probably add more water than what is typical because I just find it's easier to get smooth straight lines if it's not a super creamy mixture, but it's just slightly watered down. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, and then you can always go over it a second time if it dries a little too transparent, but I don't really.
Exactly.
All right,
that's exactly what I was going to say. You could do it over again, but yeah, your touches looks fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely, you can do it again. So I'm going to just do a little stripe down in between his lips there. I should know what that's. Is it? I don't know. I'm not going to guess. All right. So for the dots, here is a trick for the dots. You do want a watery mixture for the dots. So I'm going to take some water. I'm going to make a watery mixture. It makes it a lot easier to get a consistent looking dot if you have more of a watery mixture than like a creamy thick mixture. And then you can just press down with the tip of your brush to create the dots. And so this one, because it's such a watery mixture, I don't even have to re-wet my brush. And then because it's a watery mixture, I probably still have enough on my brush. I could probably go ahead and do the stripes on each side. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. All right, look at the camera. Oh, and we also have some dots on his nose. So I'm going to whip up a little bit more of that watery mixture, and I'll just use some dots at the top of his nose. So I'm just literally pressing with the point of the brush to get those dots. And that watery mixture just helps them look more like a circle, more uniform. And then before I do the black lines for the tiger dots, if you will, I'm actually going to use the square brush that came with the set to apply the white circles. I'm not really going to worry about if they look like circles though. I'll just apply a couple strokes. They may look more like squares. They may look more like circles, but when I outline them with black, they'll look perfect. So I'll take some water. I'll stir it into the white. Mine's popped out, but this is a real easy thing to clean. You can just take a baby wipe and just wipe the top of it and it cleans it right up. So that's another handy thing that you want to have when you're working on face paint is to have some baby wipes because it can help clean up messes and it can also clean your cake pans. Mm-hmm. I'm calling them cake pans, but your face paint.
Right.
All right, and then I can take my square brush and hopefully that won't pop out again. And I'll make a creamier mixture with this. And then what I'll do with it is where I see those little dots, I'm just going to apply a couple lines or a couple little rectangles that are right next to each other. And this would be one where maybe you'd want to let it dry. And if you want it to look more opaque, you could just go over it a second time. Due to time tonight, we're not going to do that. I'm just going to let it go however it looks. I'm just applying just 2 strokes with the square brush, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. And you're almost done, Reed. You're doing so good, and you're so sweet, Reed. Reed is one of Titus's best friends, so it's really fun he gets to be part of this class tonight.
That's right. And I just want to let everyone know that, yeah, you're almost done, Reed. You're
Yes.
fantastic. And this class is being recorded and it'll be available in 24 to 48 hours at michaels.com. And all of the face painting guides will be available with the recording. And they were also available inside where you were doing your booking. So if you have any questions or concerns, let me know and I'll address it in the chat. But also you could always visit the Snazaroo website for all of the face painting guides as well.
All right, so I loaded up my larger round brush with black, and I'm now just using it to outline each of these white squares that I made. I'm trying to start off light with my brush and then get thick as I round the corner. But if you make it all the same thickness, that's okay. You're still gonna look like an awesome rainbow tiger. And then you're just gonna do the same thing to the other side. And so this is where I say it doesn't really matter if the white looks more like a square versus a circle.
Right.
Because once you line it with black, it's gonna look perfect. All right, so go ahead and look at the camera and our rainbow tiger is done and he looks fantastic. If I do say so myself.
Can he come in a little closer so people can see?
Yes, you wanna lean in? The camera is right at this green dot here.
Oh, that looks amazing, Reed. You look scary and fun. Thanks for helping us out.
All right, Reed, good job, bud.
All right, next one up. That's what I'm saying. Maybe we could, before they leave, we'll have them come close because it's, hi there.
That sounds great. We'll do that. Okay, so let me switch my face painting design here because we are gonna do an awesome butterfly that looks super cute on Ella. I was telling Jeannie before the class, I did a dress rehearsal with the kids on Sunday, and I just think this design was made for Ella. It looks awesome. So I have a clean glass of water, because that rainbow tiger sure made it dirty. I'm done with the rainbow set for the night. And the next set we're going to use is this set. It's a pastel set, and I'm going to open this up here.
Yeah, it's the princess set.
And you can tell when you open it up, it has all these princessy colors. It comes with that same guidebook that I showed. I'm not going to show it again because it's the same guidebook that came with the rainbow set. And so it just has all these sort of pastel, perfect princessy colors. And the butterfly uses the green, the pink, the blue, and the purple. And so this also sort of creates an ombre face paint look, just like the rainbow tiger did, because we're using 3 analogous colors, meaning they're right next to each other on the color wheel. And we'll go from the blue to the purple to the pink, because the purple is sort of the in-between color between the blue and the pink. So I just want to point that out, some color theory for you. Jeannie knows I'm real big on that. So, and another difference. Sorry, go ahead, Jeannie.
No, I say it's the teacher, the instructor in you. You're very thorough. So these are really great tips. Thanks, Mandy.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, so for this particular set, the Snazaroo website just has you use a brush. You don't even have to use a sponge for this. You could use the sponge to transition the colors, but I'm doing all of the face painting tonight just as Snazaroo recommends, so that you can better duplicate this at home. So I'm going to use the bigger round brush, the number 2 round brush that comes in that 3-pack here. And so I don't need to cut the high density foam sponge because I'm not going to use that for this design. So I'm just putting my brush in the water here, and I'm going to start with the blue. And so I'm just going to create a nice little mixture with the blue. And this is a metallic blue, so you might find you need a little bit more water with the metallic colors than the non-metallic colors. So just, add enough water until you have a workable consistency. It's going to take some practice to get there, to figure out what really works for you. And so I'm going to take this brush here. Ready, Ella? Okay. She has a beautiful smile, doesn't she? Smile for the camera, Ella. All right. And I'm going to use the blue and I'm going to apply it to her eyebrows, just like it shows here in this design. And I'm going to work it up just a little bit. So I'm just sort of starting the design for the top of the butterfly. And I'm going to mirror it on the other side. All right, here we go. So I'm just trying to be real careful because eyebrows can be a sensitive area.
Yeah. Now this kit, we refer to it as princess or fantasy because Ella is going to be a beautiful butterfly. But last year we had a class as well, and that recording is on the Michael's YouTube channel. And you could make a unicorn as well with that same kit. And there's some other great ideas for some really fun fantasy kind of themes. So it has more metallic in this set intentionally because we know that girls like a little more bling. So it's going to make it look really good.
Yes, and I'm here, turn to the camera. So I made a little like boo-boo there. I don't like it. So I'm just taking a Q-tip, and look, I can just wipe that right off with the Q-tip.
Oh.
Q-tips are going to be one of your best friends when you do face painting. I cannot face paint my own face without using like 20 of them. So all right, so here's the blue. Ella, that looks beautiful. We're off to a good start. So I'm going to rinse my brush here. And so most people would probably do the purple next. I actually like to do the pink next because the pink is more influential in outlining the design of the butterfly. So with the blue here, I sort of went underneath her eye socket here, and I use that as kind of a natural guide through the blue. And for the pink, I'm going to sort of follow those smile lines and kind of work it down to sort of meet the right side of her lip, and on this side, the left side of her lip. Okay, so this is where I'm saying you want to use different points on your subject's face to kind of help you with placement and to be congruent. All right, and then the same with, I'll hold this up a little bit closer over here. So this part here, you see how that meets up right to the right of her eye and right to the left of her eye. So doing those things can sort of help with placement, and even the top part, it lines up with the right of the eye and the left of the eye. So you'll just kind of match that to try and help with consistency and symmetry. So I'm making a mixture now of pink.
Mandy,
yes,
perhaps Ella could, like, before you put on something, just to get a close up as we're going instead of just at the end. So we could she move in just
sure.
a bit?
Do you want to just lean? Yeah, she can sit on the end of the chair too. Is that a little bit better?
That would actually be better because it's a little bit closer. And then because I know Patty was asking if she could see the face so that she can get perspective.
Yes, well, Patty Woo will make you happy tonight. All right, so we'll get you on the edge of that seat there. Okay, so I'm going to start up here. I'm going to sort of line this line up with the blue. And then I'm going to also do my first little hoop there. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I like to do both sides to kind of help me just get it all even. I'm like really big on symmetry. You can ask Jeannie. I'm always real concerned about that with classes because it just doesn't look right if it's not symmetrical. So, and then I'm going to do this other line here, and I'll do the same thing over here. All right, so we're good, but I'm going to go ahead and outline the bottom too. So I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to follow those curved lines, and I'm going to go down to her mouth. Same thing over here. Okay, and I'm going to start back up here, the right of her eye, do a small little arch, and then I'm going to connect it down to the other side here. So you can see how we're kind of creating that butterfly shape.
Yeah, you can. It's coming together. You can see the wing.
All right, and then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Do a small arch, and then bring it down. And then, would you like that? It looks symmetrical.
It looks fantastic. Yeah, and not everything in nature is symmetrical. So if you make a little mistake, it's all good. We could, like I said, the color is very forgiving, so we could always
absolutely
add on more colors.
Absolutely. So if you don't get it right the first time, don't worry about it. But hopefully this gives you some tricks and some confidence to where you could, have more success with symmetry.
Yeah. Now, Yvette is asking a very good question about sanitization and obviously having good hygiene and protocol when you're painting the faces. So as I mentioned prior, the sponges can be cut into smaller little cubes or triangles because they're round, and that would help. And then it's not really necessary to like wash them out, the water, because it really comes out pretty quick. Mandy, would you say that? Because she's got the glass of water there. So she could, and now I would be between the children, I would definitely do a dab of some just soap and water real quick if you're doing a bunch of kids, like at a party and things like that. But Mandy suggested as well using a baby wipe, or you send the baby wipes because they're safe for your skin as well.
Yes, and you could always just load up on sponges. They're not expensive. So that way you could use a fresh sponge for each kid. Even the brushes are not expensive, so you could even use a new brush for each child. I have a clean glass of water tonight for each child. Well, truth be told, for my own kids, just one, but that's because, you know, we share germs all the time. So, all right, so I'm going to clean my pink brush. And now I'm going to do that transitional color, the purple. So I'm going to make a new wash with the purple.
How do you like it, Ella?
You like it? Ella's a little shy.
Okay.
But it's okay. She's having fun. She was excited to do this class. Who doesn't want to be, you know, have a YouTube presence, which, you know, all these kids will tomorrow when this is uploaded for the rewatch. I think that was the real appeal here.
That's right. We're very glad that everyone was here joining us. You know, we wanted to get enough time so that we could get this video reposted. It'll be up before the weekend. I've been assured by the Michaels team, and we're really happy that we were able to present this to you so you have enough time to go do your shopping. We're putting the links to the face painting guides. I will put a link in for the brush as well. The brush pack, as Manny said, it's available at Michaels, but mostly everything that we've been using is coming within a kit. So and if you watch the face painting guides, you could use the kit. It's totally capable within the contents of the kit. But I will put the link to the brush, and you can get it on the website as well.
Perfect. Okay, so I just finished up the purple for Miss Ella here. Look at that.
Okay,
That looks awesome. You want to lean in?
So Mandy, I apologize, I was speaking.
Yeah,
so you filled in.
So I filled it in, and so the instructions on the Snazaroo website just say to use the brush. So you can see some distinct brush strokes, and that's okay. I like that look. If you wanted to, you could use one of those sponges and just lightly dab at the colors, and that will just soften them and even kind of transition the edges a little. I'm not going to do that tonight though, because like I said, I'm going to just follow what the Snazaroo website recommends. But that is something you could do. We just have some visible brush strokes tonight. So the next thing I'm going to do is add sort of the caterpillar part of the butterfly right down Ella's nose here. That uses the green. So I'm going to create a new wash with the green. Well, I keep calling it a wash. I'm not making a wash. I'm making a slightly watered down paste mixture. I think they call it ink mixture in the face painting world. You're going to make an ink mixture.
There you go.
All right, so I just made a little ink mixture, and I would say this is probably more of an intermediate skill level, painting on these circles, because they want you to make the top one a little bit bigger and then make them a little bit smaller as you work your way down the nose. And, you know, if you need to make them all the same size, you can make them all the same size.
I was just going to suggest that, you know, you could always go back and dab them.
So these stippler foam, these are perfect. So these circles on my cheek, I used a 1/2 inch one to make the circles on the cheek. So you could even use something like this to apply the middle of the butterfly. So, you know, I always say work smarter, not harder. And this could be an inspiration. All right. So I'm cleaning the brush really quick here. And I am going to actually start with the white dots that are on the butterfly before I do the black outlining. So again, I'm doing dots. So I want to use a more of a watery mix so I can get more congruent circles. So create like a watery mix with the white, and then you can just use the tip of the brush. And I'm just going to place some circles up here. Hit the tip of my brush, however many you want. Do a couple here. Whenever you need more white, just load up your brush again. It's a watery mixture in my face paint kit, so I don't really have to add more water to it. And this way you can apply them pretty quick, just like that. All right, and then I'm going to use my thicker round brush to apply the antennas of the butterfly. So I'm going to
jump in.
Yeah,
just to clarify, because there's always obviously concerns about the safety and good hygiene. And what Mandy suggested, as we said, you can use a baby wipe that you could wipe off the surface of the paint as well as the brush. As I mentioned earlier, these little the pods, or like we call them dragées, that we're being used. It's your discretion. I mean, each of these kits, like I said, you could get multiple faces out of them, and you should take your time, and you can sanitize between them. But it's been very it's worked for us, and we haven't had any issues, especially with this group and of the many, many, many faces that we've painted. So if you follow proper hygiene and disciplines, you should have no problem painting multiple faces. So
Yes.
err on the side of caution and take your time.
And each of the kiddos tonight have their own dedicated face painting set. So there's no double dip in here. All right, so I'm gonna start with the antennas. So I'm gonna start off thin, and I'm gonna press and lift. So thin, oops, thin, press and lift for the antennas. And you can even go back over a second time the other direction if you wanna thicken them up. It's up to you. And then I'm gonna switch to my thinner round brush to outline the butterfly. So I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to try and use light pressure, and I'm going to go all the way up, and I'm just going to follow this around and follow it around. Well, I'm going to lift your hair out of the way so I can try and get this part here. And I'm going to do the same thing down here. Go around and around. So this is like the part you don't want to think too hard about. You just want to go for it. If you think too hard about it, you may freeze up. So just trust yourself. Practice a couple of times before Halloween. Do this one over here. Don't be afraid to start from different spots. So like over here, I think I started top down, but over here it felt more comfortable to start bottom up. So don't be afraid to just do whatever is most comfortable for you. And then the last thing on this design is to outline the caterpillar part. So I'm just going to carefully outline each circle with my more watery mixture. And if you need to do half on the right, half on the left to help you maintain control with your brush, do that. Circles take practice. But the nice thing about these sets is you get 40 faces plus, so you have lots of room for practice. All right, Miss Ella, you are done. Can you get close to the camera and show your beautiful butterfly? That looks awesome. Gorgeous smile.
You look fantastic, Ella. Thank you.
Can we scoot back so you can get out?
All right.
All right. So the first two kiddos were shy. The last two will not be, because the last two are mine. So they're used to me. All right. So this here is Titus. Titus is going to take off your glasses. And I'll switch out the design. So Titus is going to be this scary zombie. And we have painted this on his face so many times. We joke around that this is just his normal face. So
are you going to be that for Halloween, Titus?
I'm gonna do something similar to it.
Something
Okay,
similar.
good.
All right, so this uses the Halloween face paint kit. This is the same kit that my youngest, the werewolf, what we used for that particular kit. So I'm going to open this up. And just like with the rainbow face paint kit and the princess one, it comes with the high density sponge. It comes with the instructional book. It comes with the square brush, and it comes with more Halloween-ish colors. We have sort of a witchy green and even like a witchy purple. So
yeah, it's good. This one's good.
Yes, and
this
I
have to say,
go ahead.
Pardon me. Thank you, Pamela. Mandy, if by chance anyone in here is an artist and you want to join and try out watercolor, check out this bookings, because Mandy is one of our resident watercolorists for Windsor and Newton, and she is a fantastic teacher. So I'm glad that you now have the courage and some knowledge to paint faces more than just a couple things. So thanks for that feedback, Pamela.
Oh, that's nice. I cannot read the comments during these classes, so I'm happy to hear that. Yes, that's great. Okay, so this particular design uses a high density sponge. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with Mr. Reed, and I'm going to cut it in half. So proof here, I'm not reusing sponges.
All right, and I'm just going to jump in. One other thing Julie asked about, are there any more trendy designer looks for kids? I would encourage you to check out the Snazaroo website. It is very diverse, and there are many graphic designs for both young adults and children. But as I mentioned earlier, mermaids have been really popular. I think the butterfly is going to be something that's really popular this year. We tried to pick trends that were popular from the Michaels team. And these are some of the things that they selected, and they have costumes to coordinate at their store. So that's where some of these were selected from.
Thank you, Jeannie. I want to point out one other thing though. I guess I'm going to cheat just a little. So this set comes with white, but I have to paint his entire face white. And so it's a lot faster to do that if I use one of the face kits that Jeannie had mentioned earlier, where you can buy individual colors and they're a little bit whiter. So I am going to cheat and use this for the initial layer of color, and then I'll use this for everything else. But you can use this, but just time constraint wise. Since I have this
now,
one other. All right, so we're going to do this.
Sorry,
yeah,
Mandy,
go ahead,
that's the 18 ml. You're absolutely right. Just because we're a little pressed for time, it's 8:42, and we'll get going on this one. And then the last one will be the fox. So we're doing well.
The fox is super fast. It uses the brush pens. Okay.
Yeah.
So I did the same thing I did with the rainbow tiger, where I just blotted the sponge into a paper towel. And I will go ahead and spritz this a couple of times. I use a lot of water, what can I say? And then I'm going to run the sponge into the white. All right, so this is the one who said the face paint feels really good. And he wasn't kidding. Where are you, buddy?
Nope.
Nope.
It's nice and smooth, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't dry like where it cracks, right?
Yeah.
Right, Titus?
Yep.
Yeah,
Last year, yeah, we said that I'm unfortunately wasn't able to paint my face today, but I've done many as well, and I've done a deer. Last year I did a deer, and that's another one that is kind of trending out there if someone's interested in that. That's real easy, and as well as I think I did a leopard. You did a snow leopard, and I did a regular leopard. So to give somebody else some hints. Even though they're the kids, the adult designs, you could certainly still do them for kids, but there are plenty out there. Superheroes, there's a lot that's going on out there with Disney and Marvel, so you can get inspiration from there, and you could just sometimes do freehand and be creative on your own. But like I said, we have the guides. Mandy's doing fantastic. Titus, you're a great participant here.
He loves this. He every night, Mom, we should practice for your class. Mom, we should practice for your class.
Yeah, right?
I have done pretty much every single design on the Snazaroo website because it kind of got tiring doing the same ones over and over. So I'm like, well, let's venture out. And they're all really easy, and they're all easy to follow because they're all 3 steps. They're very clear in what you're supposed to do. There's a lot of different designs that use the same pack. So you can get a lot of use out of them, or do what Jeannie said and just sort of do your own thing like I did with the scarecrow tonight.
Yeah, actually someone said about a witch. There are a few witches, spiders. There's a spider witch. There's a purple witch. There's all kinds of witches out there. And there's actually, the witch that looks just like the one from the Wizard of Oz. She's green. So yeah, the Snazaroo website has really good inspirations.
All right, so I'm just finishing up here. I'm just blotting until I think it looks like good even coverage. You could always wait for this first layer to dry and add a second layer if you wanted it to look even more opaque, but I think that looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
All right.
You got good coverage. Looking good, looking spooky.
Yes, very white. All right, so the next step is to create, I don't know if you call them like decaying skin or like bruises, but the next thing is to dab on some gray. So the Halloween kit does come with gray. We already have white on the sponge. So another thing you could do is just dab it a couple times into the black, and that's going to create gray for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that so I can just use the same sponge, and this is my own child. So, hygiene isn't as important as it was with the other two. And then you can just dot it on. You can see how it goes on gray because black and white mixed together create gray.
Yeah, now he's going to start looking. He's going to have that the spooky zombie glow.
Yes, spooky zombie glow.
Yeah.
What do you think, Titus? Here, why don't you set up a little bit so people can get closer.
Oh, that's really good.
We want to make everyone happy here tonight. So I'm just adding these kind of gray spots wherever you want. You can even add more than what's on the final image. But you can see how nicely that like blends into the white, and it just gives us that sort of spooky look. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do, it's a little bit out of order. And the reason why is because we have to create a mouth on the side of Titus's cheek here, and we're going to be putting white over black. So I want to give that black layer a chance to just dry a little bit before I go over it with the white. So I'm going to go ahead and paint on the shape of the mouth now for that reason. I think in the instructions, it has me do a couple other things first, but if you have all the time in the world, you can follow the time of the directions. But since we're under time constraints, I'm going to take advantage and go ahead and paint on the mouth now. So I'm going to use, once again, a round brush. I mean, maybe it's because I'm a watercolor artist. I don't know, but it's the one I tend to gravitate towards. So Titus, go ahead and sit on the side of the chair so I have a better angle here. He's used to this. We've done this so many times. So I'm going to draw the top of the mouth, just sort of a straight line, and then a big arch at the bottom. So it almost looks like a happy face, like a big smile without the teeth at this point. And then I'm just going to go ahead and fill that in with black. And it kind of blends with the white a little bit and turns like a really dark gray. So you could always go over this with another layer too if you wanted. But that's the mouth, at least the base for the mouth, if you will. Okay, so for now, Titus, you can go ahead and sit back around. All right, so now I'm going to apply some black around his eyes. So I'm just using the same sponge here that already has some white mixed into it. And so I'm gonna place some around on his eyebrows and right under his eye. Can you look up for me just a little? I'm just gonna work my way around and give him some dead looking eyes. Super spooky. This is a cool design.
It's like deep set. Yeah, those deep
Yes.
set eye sockets.
I'm
That's
just
actually a
trying to
really good one.
Just trying to use the tip of the cut
The
part of the
brush.
sponge. Just to kind of
We had
me.
an artist in our office, and she one year painted me as a zombie, and it was so much fun because you think like it totally transforms you, and that's why the Snazaroo, it's just got we refer to it as transformative play, because it's just, you just have so much fun with it, and even as adults, it's a good time. We will have a good time with it. You look creepy. Oh, you are
It's
really
so
starting to look creepy. Oh, scary stuff.
Titus wants to say something. Go ahead. You can say, I give you my permission.
I'm a professional.
Yeah. Okay.
You certainly are, Titus. I am very happy that you're a part of the team. You're doing great.
All right.
So
I have
actually, Mandy, let me just jump in one more time.
Yes,
Mandy
good.
has her Instagram, and she posted many other faces. So I would encourage you, I will put her, go ahead, you can shout it out so people can follow you as well.
Thank you. It's Mandy Peltier Artist. Yeah, it's just my name with artist on the end.
Okay, so we can check that out. So
yes, and my website too, mandypeltier.com. And you can watch all of my previous Michael's classes there, because I've embedded all the videos. All right, so I have the thinner round brush, and I'm going to place 3, a small line, a medium line, a long line right there. And we'll add some red over that in just a little bit. And then up here, I'm going to create like an upside down V. So small line, small line. And you'll see what we're going to do to that in a second, because the next color we're going to use is red. What?
The thing said bread instead of red.
Oh, he's watching the closed caption. It said bread instead of red. So
it does.
All right, so I'm going to use my thicker round brush, and I'm going to create some blood. So I'm just kind of using the pointed part, and I'm just going to sort of touch it down on that V. And look how that creates blood, just touching it down with the brush. Easy peasy. And then I'm going to use my thinner brush, more red. And I'm just going to paint a straight line through these 3 black lines to make it look like blood or like a cut. And then I'm also going to outline the mouth. Top and bottom. Just to create a little bit of a blood look. That sounds really weird to say, but I mean, it is a zombie after all. All right, and then I'm going to just take my sponge. I'm just using the same one because all these colors sort of work together to kind of give it that zombie look. And I'm just going to dab it just a couple times in the red. And I'm going to place a little bit of red on a few spots on his face just to give us a bit of a blood look, a little bit above the mouth even. And just having that white on the sponge, I think, kind of helps. Guys, how does this feel?
It feels good.
Feels good. I did not tell him to say that, I promise. He really loves the face paint.
It's an authentic endorsement.
It really, really is. Okay, so now I'm going to paint on the teeth. So I'm going to use the square brush that comes with the kit. And so to paint on the teeth, I'm going to do it in the same way that I painted on those spots for the tiger, where I'm basically just going to make a mixture of white. And I'm just going to pull my brush up just a couple of times. And I'm not going to try to be, I'm not trying to make perfect squares. I want the teeth to look kind of jagged and rugged. So I'm going to start by making a pasty mixture with the white. We do actually want this one to be a little bit thicker because we're going over black, which is the darkest color. So, and white is the lightest color. So we do want to make more of a pasty mixture. And go ahead and turn to the side again, Titus. And I'm just going to kind of start drawing or painting on the teeth along the top. Leave a little gap between them. Make them different sizes. You can even use the side of your brush for a couple. You can see how that just gives it a tooth look. So it's not something you have to try or think too hard about. And then I'm going to do the bottom teeth too. Oh, that looks super scary. Let me make this one just a little bit longer. Ooh, look at that. That looks awesome. Okay. And with that, his zombie is done. So go ahead and turn this way. Let everyone see your handsome but scary face.
You look great.
And that is the zombie.
That was easy, right? That was a quick one.
It is a quick one.
You look fantastic.
What do you say?
Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome. In the chat, I just put a couple things in just to reassure everyone, because we are going on to our last character this evening, which is going to be a fox, and that will be Charlotte. So now I put in that this class is being recorded, and we're going to have it posted at the Michaels website where you registered for this class. If you go down to the recently posted, you'll see it within the next 24 to 48 hours. And then you'll be able to make these creations. And as you make these creations, please share with us, share with Mandy. I posted her Instagram, and you can put down hashtag make it with Michaels, and maybe we'll see you in the Michaels gallery. All right. So keep, be active, be creative, and have fun.
Yes. And if you do make any of these face designs and you're on Instagram, tag me on the post. Or just send me a message so I can see. I'd love to see how it looks. So, so the last, oh, thank you, Charlotte. So the last design we're going to do is this fox, and this uses the Halloween pack of brush pens that just comes with orange, white, and black. You don't even have to dilute these with water. You can just paint directly on. You will probably have to twist them more than you think to get them going, but once they go, they go. So just fair warning. So this is really quick and easy. And one thing I want to say about these brush pens is some of you may have children with sensory issues, or they don't want to have their face painted, or, so I think this could be a solution because it's really fast, and it almost feels like you're just like giving a massage because you're, like just with pressure. But it's gentle, and like I said, it's quick. So I love these for that reason, because I'm a special needs mom, and so these are really nice to me. All right, so we're going to start with the white.
That, Mandy. Thank you for sharing that. That's
you are welcome. Okay, so I got this started before class, so I wouldn't be twisting. So I'm going to twist it.
Charlotte's saying, what's she doing?
Yeah, but you see it just comes right out. Okay, so I'm going to start by doing the top of the nose here, and I'm going to make like a fan shape, or it almost is going to look like a flower. So I'm doing what I call hatching strokes. So I lift up my brush in between each stroke, and so you can see I'm just sort of painting it on. So see how it kind of looks like a fan shape or like a flower? Turn so they can see. And I'm going to do the same thing here and here. I'm going to place a dot to kind of help me get it symmetrical. All right, and you can always twist when you need more. And so I'm going to do the same thing up here for the ears, same fan shape. So you're just drawing. This is me right here drawing.
Right.
So
Mandy,
right.
would you put the tip? Would you put the brush pen? Because Julie's asking about what type of tip it is. Because if you could just show a little closer in, it
Yeah,
really, yeah, and it has the edge, so you can get some very clean lines as well. Because as I mentioned to you, I've used them, and I've made really tiny, intricate little lines as well.
Yes.
Detail.
And you would just want to, if you want to do that, you'd want to use something to shape it, just like run it on, like I'll use the bot at the top of this. So you would just run it to sort of shape the tip so that you could get those fine lines. But for this particular design, thick is fine. So,
Yep.
So now I'm also going to paint on a little bit along the tip of Charlotte's nose here. I also think this is a super cute preteen design, and Charlotte here is a preteen. I mean, foxes are like so trendy right now. So I just think this is great. And then I'm going to also just apply some of those hatching strokes along Charlotte's cheek here. And I'm going to work them up. I'm just going to follow the natural curve of her face and just apply some strokes. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Yeah, turn your face to the other side, girlfriend. Oh, I got the eye roll. Did you guys see that? Old mom got the eye roll. Hashtag teenager. All right. Sorry, I have to be a little bit sillier with my own children. Okay, so next is orange. So I have the orange brush pen, and I'm gonna twist it, make sure it gets started, and I'm going to apply some longer hatching strokes on her nose to connect the bottom white and the top white. All right, so I'm gonna twist, and it's all gonna, if you need a little bit of water, you can, but you don't need water for these. All right, so I'm gonna just run it up, a couple strokes. And you can tell she's starting to look like a fox with that one color there. And then I'm going to outline her ears. So I'm gonna follow the left end of her right eyebrow and the right side of her left eyebrow. And I'm going to draw a line up and draw a line up and make sure it's symmetrical. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of do this side of the ear and kind of fill in this part. And black is going to be the one that sort of finishes it all off. I'm just filling in the ear. And the package that these brush pens come with, it already has a couple other designs on the box. So there's this little spider you can do. And on the inside, it has this little tiger. So there's a couple other ideas besides even this fox that you can do with the brush pen set. It's really cute.
So
right.
a couple more questions.
Yes.
There are many sets that are available out there. The one that Mandy's using today is the Halloween one, which is black, white, and orange. But there's at least 4 other colors. If you go into the Michaels stores, they have them in stock in the Halloween planogram setup where the costumes are. There was pink, purple, I believe it's pink, purple, and silver. And then the other one, there's a black and white. They do not have replacement nibs. They're one-time usage, but you get a lot of yield out of these. They go a very long way. I would suggest that you'll get plenty of faces from each kit. I would say, I don't know how many times you've used them, Mandy, but I would say probably close to 10 out of each one.
Oh yeah, and you can see how easily it's coming out. Like just giving a couple twists and it gushes. So, so I also added a few hatching strokes, kind of overlapping the white, but not trying to completely cover the white. And, but as to the brush pens, this is kind of far, you can't probably see really well, but it looks like a superhero brush pen pack. And then this one looks like another sort of princess pack. These are all at Michaels. So you can get them there. When I was at the Michaels store today to get just a couple things, I mean, they had a huge selection of Snazaroo. Every single thing I'm using tonight was at the Michaels store. So you don't even have to order it online. All right, so the black is last. The black brush pen here. So I'm gonna just get that going, give it a twist There we go. Okay. And so I'm going to do her ears. I'm going to do the opposite side of each eyebrow than what I did before. And I'm going to go up and then over. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Up and then over. And then I'm going to do the other side. Ooh, and that looks symmetrical. Look at the camera, sis. There we go. Looks good. Okay. And then I'm going to do the nose. So I'm going to draw a line. You can let's see, I'm going to draw a line on each side of her nose. Charlotte's making a face at me. You're trying to make me lose my concentration. It's not going to work. All right. And then I'm going to draw a little shade down here to give her a little fox nose and round it at the bottom. So cute. And show them your little nose. So cute. All right, and then to finish off the fox, I'm just going to add a few strokes of black along each side of her cheek. So you're not going to add as much black as the other colors. It's just almost like an accent color. I'm going to show the other side. And we have the fox. How quick was that?
That was fantastic. Thank you, Charlotte.
Wait, Charlotte reminded me one more thing. I need to do that flower thing in the middle, finish off the ears. Sorry, Charlotte. But it's a quick little thing. Okay, now you're done.
All right, if you can look into the camera, Charlotte, moving a little close so we can see you. It looks great. Well, we made the 4 faces in the allotted time. We ran just a bit over. Thank you all for staying with us. I encourage you to watch the replays. And as Mandy said, she offered up her Instagram and her website for some more artistic inspirations. But Snazaroo has a lot of information that will be available and product available at Michael's, and the guides will be attached to the recording. When you look at it, you can go under About. They'll be there. And I also encourage you to look at the Snazaroo website for lots of other creative inspirations. So have a wonderful Halloween, everyone. Safe and happy and sensible. And I just want to give a special thanks to Mandy, as you demonstrated your wonderful skill, as always, as you transitioned into face painting. So I'm glad that you were here for this class. Love your scarecrow. And I think I might be doing that for Halloween.
I think I'm going to repeat it for Halloween myself. I think it's a fun one. So
it's really good. All right. So thanks, everyone. Enjoy. I'm glad that you were here to join us for this Snazaroo face painting class. Happy Halloween.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.